All right, I want to talk to you about one thing about cannon plugs. And the biggest mistake that everybody does is they fail to look at the hookup list. It's something that's you need to do, and you need to do it every time. And there are things that you need to do to insert into your sign-off, most especially if you're in a hangar environment. So, let's take a look. Well, we bring our attention to the wiring diagram. I bring this to the attention because this can get people in trouble and people don't quite understand it. Let us look at a cannon plug. Anytime you change a connector on an aircraft, this should be your procedure. We're going to use the electric driven hydraulic pump as our example. D2666 is damaged. Got to replace it. Well, first thing you need is a part number. You can go to the wiring diagram equipment list, look up 2666. There's your part number. Now there's effectivities. You see two different part numbers. The only difference in the part number is the dash, and one has an alpha. We'll look and see what the difference is a little later. Here's your part number. You look it up, you order it. Before your ass gets out of the seat, you need to stop what you're doing and go down to the hookup list. You have to at least glance at this. Typically, if the cannon plug's over 10 contacts, I print it. But no matter what, even if it has one pin, you have to glance at the hookup list. And let me show you why. Let's look up 2666. And ordinarily, when you look at this, you're looking at this TT column right here. And it should either be blank or it should say unused. This is what it should look like. You get your cannon plug. It has the contacts in the bag. You crimp them on the end of the wires, plug them in. But if we look at D2666, we will see that the TT column is not blank, and it has the code 10 in the 1, 3, and 6 position. Well, what does that mean? Well, the first thing you know is you cannot use the contacts that come in the bag with the cannon plug. You have to get a different contact to go in position 1, 3, and 6, and it won't be in the bag with the cannon plug. If you go to the top of the wiring diagram under introduction, you can see codes, and there's not many codes, so you can just scroll down and find 10, contact oversize, and there's the part numbers right there. 540 for the pin and a 541 for the socket, whichever one that it is that you're needing. Southwest stocks all these special purpose pins. That word is important because the way you should sign this off, if you look up that cannon plug, you will find that it is in 206111. What you want to do, 206111. And that was a 63 CB, which is on page 30. And here, remember you had the two different cannon plugs. One was a dash and one was an A. Cadmium plated aluminum shell. An A is an anodized aluminum shell. But this is where you find it out. Everything you would ever want to know about that cannon plug is located right here. How to take it apart. Even those special purpose contacts are in here and why you would use them. This leads us to your sign off. Now if you're on the line and you're changing a cannon plug, you can just say replace cannon plug 206111 and just leave it at that. I personally wouldn't do that, but if you are in a hangar environment where you have 100% inspection buyback, that sign off should say replaced cannon plug per SWPM 206111, special purpose contacts installed in positions 1, 3, and 6. If I were an inspector and I got the card that you replaced that cannon plug and it did not include that statement, I would reject the card. I need to know, if I'm an inspector, you were smart enough to go look this up. He's not going to watch you crimp the pins. If you merely say, I installed special purpose contacts in 1, 3, and 6, he's going to assume you did it. He's looking to see, are you smart enough to know what you're doing? Now, another thing that you want to look at position 2 and 8. It says unused, and probably when you go to it, there will not be a contact in number 2 and number 8. If you do that, you're a any unused cavity in that cannon plug, you need to take the new contacts and stick them inside that cannon plug. It makes the cannon plug more rigid, more points of contact, and it helps with the ingress of debris, fluids, dirt, dust. Yeah, I know you put the nail in the back to plug the hole, but it just helps. And who knows, you may be downline one day and you need a contact for position 7. Guess what? You got a spare one sitting there in number 2 and number 8. So always fill the cannon plug up. The big thing here is don't be a dick. Don't get in trouble. There are many a mechanic that have gotten in trouble because they created a fire. Something failed. They didn't do it the way that they were supposed to do it. They put the contacts that came in the bag with the connector. This is not necessarily the correct thing to do. I want you to be careful out there. Don't get yourself in trouble. For all the things that we do, there's a lot of things we can get in trouble for. Don't let this one be one of those. This is the standard way of doing it. Knowing where to look and how to instill confidence by an inspector. He wants to know, do you know what you're doing? He don't want to sit there and watch you do it. That's just nuts.